This is Starting Point, a podcast that tracks Guyana's unprecedented growth from all vantage points. Join your hosts, Kiana Wilberg and Fariza Hanif, as they dive deep into the heart of topical issues.
Hi there. Welcome to this special episode of Starting Point. I am your host, Fariza Hanif, and I'm joined by my beautiful co host, Kiana Wilberg. Now, in this special episode, we want to delve into the launch of Forward Guyana's manifesto. This was officially revealed to the public yesterday. And Forward Guyana, as many of you may know, is a party that's led by Amanza Walton Desir. She is the presidential candidate. It's a new party that she formed after leaving the PNC. Now, we want to dig deep into this manifesto for Forward Guyana and other manifestos to come. It's in keeping with the theme of our podcast, tracking Guyana's transformation from all vantage points. And we want to be able to discuss the plans of all the political parties so that our viewers and our listeners can have an understanding of what these political parties are offering.
That's right.
So let's get straight into what Forward Guyana has to offer Guyana, we should say. Now, this manifesto was launched under the theme A Contract with Guyana, an agenda for national renewal. Now, Kiana, you and I had the opportunity to peruse this 42-page document. Yep. Suffice to say, I was quite disappointed with what I read.
My sentiments exactly.
For me, a lot of what is there is already what is happening. And as you rightfully said when we were discussing this last night, if you're entering into a contract with the Guyanese people, or you want the Guyanese people to vote for you, then it should be something different than what's already being offered.
Absolutely.
What struck me is that in their preamble, the manifesto, before going into their actual plans and ideas, they spoke about some of the issues affecting the country, and one of them is underemployment and unemployment. But when you go forward into the document, there's no plan as to how they intend to address this. So that struck me first, and I saw some of their ideas. Well, most of their ideas are just one-liners, a little headline and one-liners, two-liners about what they will do, but not how they will do it. Now, for instance, they spoke about economic fairness and tax justice. And all they said is that they will reform the tax system, but not how they will reform the tax system. And while other political parties announced or you use these lavish speeches about increasing increasing old age pension, increasing cash grants, none of this was listed in their document. They spoke about living wages and opportunity for all, but not how they plan to increase that either. Business opportunities and partnerships, no plan as to how they intend to tackle business opportunities. So some of the other items for me that stood out was STEM, digital skills, and entrepreneurship. They plan to overhaul, as they say, the curriculum, but doesn't say how they will do that. Now, STEM and digital skills is something that started under the APNU AFC, and now under the Irfan Ali-led administration, we have a digital school. So what new are you offering? Then they spoke about fully funding the University of Guyana, and I'm a little bit stumped by that.
Yeah, I saw that one too.
What did you think?
That was clearly another area that shows how out of touch the document is with reality. And it was quite disappointing because the presidential candidate was also a parliamentarian before it was dissolved. And you can forgive the other two members who she has formed a coalition with. You can excuse them, not necessarily, but let's just give them a bly, as Guyanese would say. As a parliamentarian, you had access, you had a front row seat to many of the measures that have been taken to Parliament, discussed in Parliament regarding the education sector. And that was something that was announced in phases.
Correct.
So how could you miss that? And how could you have that as part of your manifesto? So, as you rightfully said, Fariza, that was something that jumped out at me, and it was one of the disappointing characteristics of the document.
The other items that I saw they have here that's already happening under this current administration: universal quality health care, ensuring every Guyanese, regardless of location, has access to modern, well-equipped hospitals and clinics. Do I need to go into how many hospitals we have built and are currently building? How many clinics how many clinics have been overhauled, extended, improved with services? They spoke about community and digital health and mentioned telemedicine. Come on, telemedicine. It's already happening.
Yep.
It's already happening.
Absolutely.
Child protection and welfare. Ministry of Human Services and Social Security. Do we need to get into what they have been doing and what has already been done? Ending violence and discrimination.
Yes, that in particular was that was another letdown and a disappointing area for me too. And I'm sorry that I need to use this word so profusely for this document, but in the interest of being kind, that's why I'm there. And that one really stuck out for me, Fariza, because when you are starting out as a third party or a third force, you're starting at a disadvantage. You don't have a track record with the electorate.
Right.
They don't know what you are capable of. This is now a getting to know you process. And so you would expect that you are going to do your homework. You're going to ensure that you study the strengths and weaknesses of the parties who are already in play, who have a legacy. And you're going to put forward to the electorate to say, hey, I've reviewed what this party has done where championing the rights of women are concerned. And this is where I think they're falling down, and this is what we are going to bring to the table.
Correct.
And I was very much surprised that in this particular area, and I just want to read this section very quickly. It says, and this is where they're dealing with the protection of women. The party, Forward Guyana, intends to champion strong protections for women, persons with disabilities, and all at-risk groups with zero tolerance for abuse. My humble opinion, that doesn't present as a government in waiting. That presents as a non-governmental organization.
Correct.
Anybody can say that they will champion those
Zero
laws.
tolerance for abuse, correct.
Exactly. But
Correct.
what are you going to do as a government in waiting to ensure that that is done? So that's really another sore point in that document for me.
Especially knowing what has been happening the past couple of months, the past years, women being killed, attacked, raped, and you only have a two-liner to address such a sensitive and important issue. Now, they spoke about national transport connectivity. And I started to wonder, are we living in the same country?
Yeah.
Because if you want to talk about transport connectivity, all you have to do is listen to the president and what he has been saying since he has entered into office. We have seen the Heroes Highway. We've seen the Eccles to Ogle Highway. We have seen the highway at Schoonard. And so many more connection that's happening that even I can't keep track of it. And every time the president speaks about road connectivity, I wish I had a map in front of me so I could picture what he's saying, because he has all of these plans that's already in train, already in progress, and more to even come. So you presenting a document to speak about road connectivity does not appeal to me, because I'm living it, you're living it, the country is already living it.
Absolutely. But Fariza, apart from that, and I really want to give you the scope to touch on the things that are in the document, because the things that are not in the document
But before we go to the
are
things...
equally alarming.
Before we go to the things not in the document, what I see here is constitutional reform.
Oh, my goodness. You know those. You know, back in the days, your parents or your grandparents would buy these fridge magnets, right, with the fruits and what's not, and they just put it there for decorative purposes on the fridge. That's exactly how it presents in this social contract, and it doesn't say anything about how it will address constitutional reform, why constitutional reform is important, and that for me stood out because, again, as I said, the presidential candidate comes from the PNC. You mean to tell me that you did not go back to the APNU's 2015 manifesto? You're not listening to what the APNU is saying to show the reason why you have stepped out to form your own party and to demonstrate to the electorate that this is my vision for leadership on this particular issue. You've not returned to the manifesto of the incumbent to show what you will do differently.
Yeah, it lacks substance. The document, the 42-page document, overall lacks substance. And they have a headline that says youth,
Yeah.
and one line that says investing in the future, not just managing it. We see youth not as a problem to be managed, but as partners in building a better Guyana. Well, what is the plan? How are you making youth the partners in building a better Guyana? The document in itself lacks any sort of justification or any sort of plan as to how they intend to achieve all of these things. And a manifesto should be a document that gives you insight into what a party wants to do and how they intend to do it.
Absolutely.
You know, I've read WIN's manifesto, and WIN is a party that's being led by persons who do not have much political experience. I mean, minus the Natasha Singh Lewis and the Tabitha Sarbu, Haley, and the rest. Look at Azruddin Muhammad and look at his manifesto. I can safely say his is a lot better compared to Forward Guyana, which has a political heavyweight like Amanzo Walton Desir.
Though it has the imprint of artificial intelligence throughout, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
So, you know, I don't want to harp much more on what they have here that's already happening in the country. That has been happening even during the APNU AFC's term in office. So I will let you take the rein on what's not mentioned in the manifesto.
Yes. So, you know, Fariza, before I get to some of my findings on the important things that I expected to see in this social contract with the people, I was very much taken back with the plans for, as you mentioned, and I think it's an important point. When you're going to talk about reforming the tax system, how exactly are you going to go about that? Are you reforming it in the sense of, let's say, for example, you want to address concessions to certain industries. You want to relook at that. You want to provide greater incentives to give new growth pools in the industry, because at the end of the day, building out a post-oil and gas economy is very important. So are you going to reform the tax system in that regard? Are you reforming the tax system to ensure that you go after those large companies that may be escaping the tax net? Are you reforming it in such a way that you want to ensure the poor are able to benefit more, let's say in terms of tax credits? What exactly is your plan?
Right. Is it more taxes for the people?
Exactly. So I was really disappointed on that respect, but more so disappointed in what is not in this document. How do you present a social contract for development and there's no plan for rice, there's no plan for sugar, there's no plan for fisheries, no plan for forestry, no plan for gold, bauxite, diamond, quarrying. You don't even have a plan outlined for the energy sector.
No mention of those things.
No
period.
mention. You don't even mention anything about developing a major resource, which is the gas resource. What's your plan for that? It's nowhere to be found in the document.
Did they say anything at their press conference about it?
No, well, if this is what you're presenting,
Right.
I really don't want to. I don't want to go there. I really don't want to go there. Your social contract is supposed to have some basic things.
Correct.
And if you don't have a plan for the development of the productive sectors, you don't have a plan on how you are going to take diversification further, what race are you in? And what even alarmed me even more, this entire document does not mention our first people even once. But there's 5 mentions in this document about the diaspora
Oh, wow.
and what will be done to include the diaspora. I'm not knocking the diaspora.
No.
We need them.
No mention of the Amerindian people.
No, none.
Wow.
No plan to take their rights further, to take their development to the next level.
Land titling, nothing.
Nothing, absolutely nothing. And then the other part that was very mind-blowing, I really got to come off the disappointing now, because when you really think about it,
It's mind-blowing.
it's crazy to think that you are presenting, you were comfortable enough as presidential candidate to present this social contract to the electorate. And in that social contract, there was no mention of how you're going to take private sector growth to the next level. First of all, private sector, not even mentioned once in the document. So in some cases, how you started out by saying, yes, there's a mention of it, but you're not saying how.
How?
We don't, the private sector doesn't even have an
A one-liner.
honorary mention
Or a one-liner
or
at all.
in this document. And then what also, I want to come back to the issue of protection of women. There is no plan, no point-by-point address of how a Forward Guyana government would address public security.
Yeah, they just
So-
mentioned that in their preamble.
So you don't know what is their plan to deal with robberies, murders, piracy, human and drug trafficking, much less domestic violence.
And they
And
mention it as a scourge affecting the country.
yes,
Crime
but
right.
nothing on how you will be addressing these particular issues as the government in waiting. And then, of course, there's my baby, oil and gas. And there isn't even a mention of how you are going to take local content to the next level. What's the plan to prepare Guyanese for? I mean, that's already being done, but at least I expect you to mention it and to say, well, this is your plan for putting locals in the driver's seat of either the post-oil economy or the oil and gas economy. How you're going to take the local content gains to the next level. There are over 1,000 companies registered. What's your plan to get more women in part of that? What's your plan to get more youths involved in the industry? And there's no mention of that. And so overall, I mean, I know time is of the essence here, but overall, you get a clear idea that Forward Guyana does not have any credible plan to build out a modern Guyana. It's evident that were they to assume office, they would be doing the bare minimum. And they would be, and it seems as though, and I'm wondering whether, these parties, and the reason why I'm mentioning this particular point is because we're going to get to the WIN manifesto. And I'm wondering if these parties just put these things in there so that maybe thinking that the electorate is not going to notice
Or read their document.
or read the document.
Yeah.
And they can say, well, oh, you know what? The government said that they were going to do this, and yes, they copied it from us, right? They're now talking about this, and they copied it from us. So, yes, go ahead.
Let's be fair to them, right? They intend to introduce a legislation
On what?
the legislation will be called Theft of Honest Services.
Lord,
So they're
yeah.
going to make it a crime to hold no-show jobs,
Yeah.
engage in fraudulent contracts, or funnel public funds for personal or political gain. And they want to introduce a robust legal framework to ensure that organized criminals, their leaders, and associates cannot benefit from illicit activities.
Is there a mention there about the re-establishment of the state asset
Yes,
recovery?
Sarah.
Yes. So I remember reading that particular point, and when during the heydays of being a hardcore journalist, I remember covering Sarah. I remember covering Sarah even before it was even thought of to introduce legislation. And it was first mentioned by Professor Clive Thomas.
Correct.
He wrote a column on it. And he mentioned the idea at the time of, any government that, if the AP and new AFC were to assume office, it would be in their interest to investigate a number of issues, and that turned out to be a witch hunt. And so that particular point was concerning,
Right.
because it shows me that, okay, on one hand, you don't have a comprehensive plan for public security, for the safety of citizens,
But now you have.
but you are interested in reestablishing an agency that was used to it was used as a tool. It was used
Correct.
as a tool for witch hunting.
Correct.
So, Forward Guyana, I think this document was, I really want to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that this document was released. It's not the real thing. It's not the.
It really does.
There was a
lack-
mistake.
It really does lack substance.
Yeah.
It really does lack substance.
Yeah.
I know the guys are signaling to us that we have just a
Right.
few more minutes, but I'll ask Carl, our technical operator, to just
Yeah.
bear with us for a few moments.
Yeah.
As we just touch a little bit on Win. You had a few things that you want to talk about.
Oh my, oh my.
But let me just point
Yes.
out, Kiana, before
Uh-huh.
you start, that we are now, 26 days away from elections, and we do not know who their prime ministerial candidate is.
Yes.
We just know who their presidential candidate is. Albeit you don't vote for a prime ministerial candidate, but
Correct.
the citizens at least deserve to know who will be running this country. It is also interesting to note that I have not seen Azruddin's father or wife on the campaign trail with him. They have not made themselves public since he's launched his party. I noticed that I was running through their list of candidates last night, and I don't see Hannah, his sister, on the list. Although the Stabrook News made mention that she's a candidate in one of their articles today, but that is not true. His other sister, Hadia, is on the list. And based on my research, she is a journalist who is based in the UK. But I, too, have not seen her on the campaign trail, although she's a candidate on the list. The other persons on his list, like Tabitha Sarbo, Natasha Singh Lewis, Kojo McPherson, Kojo used to be with former President Granger. He's
Yes.
also on the list, the national top-up list, I believe. I don't see these people on the campaign trail. I haven't seen them speaking at meetings either. And it makes me wonder, why? Why not?
Absolutely.
And it's very interesting that we're just less than a month away. And this is still...
That's the state of affairs.
Yeah, it's a state of affairs within the party.
And, before I get into the substantive concerns regarding their manifesto, I saw a clip circulating on Facebook where one of their members, Odessa Primas, and I believe she's their campaign manager too, addressing, or embarrassing rather, an individual who asked a very important question regarding the party's plan to take the country forward. And it was,
What is their plan for the economy? I think
yeah, it was very embarrassing. It was very crude.
She embarrassed that
Yeah.
young man.
Yeah, and that in itself speaks volumes about the individuals who are part of this grouping. And make no mistake, there is no interest, genuine interest, to serve the people. There is no genuine interest.
And just a point to note, Odessa Primus is a comedian, an excellent comedian at that. But this is not a comedy show,
Correct.
right? This is Guyana's future is at stake and at risk. And if a citizen asks a question, even if, let's say, they were sent there by the PPP or the APNU or the AFC to ask a question, that is not how you treat with it. That is not how you encourage people. And that is not how you try to get people to have confidence in you and to vote for you by embarrassing them.
Absolutely.
You know? And I think Odessa, she has said publicly that she is the vice presidential candidate.
Oh,
So that
dear.
is interesting to know that as a vice presidential candidate, how you treat citizens who have genuine concern about the state of the country's economy. So I think I'll ask the guys to play that clip for us so people could have an understanding of what we're talking about. They can add it in.
Question for you. What is your plan for the economy?
What is my plan for the economy?
Yeah.
What do you want?
You guys want to face the election.
Right, but this is not a question and answer segment. But I want you to stand up here so I'm going to explain to you. No, listen to me. You ask me a question, let me answer you. You know that I'm going to use you tonight. Our plan for the economy, you ask me a question, hold on.
Yeah.
Our plan for this economy has several different segments. As it relates, shut your mouth and listen, man. That's why you left behind the glass. You don't know shit.
The entire question about WIN and their plans and what they want to do, even the Starbuck News wrote an entire editorial on August 5th about Azzuddin Mohammed's candidacy. And they actually questioned, why did he decide to form a political party
Correct.
and to run for office? Is it because of the sanctions? Is it because of the sanctions that
You wanna
were
go that over?
placed on him by the United States government?
This was the Stabrook.
The Starbuck News editorial, August 5th, right? And I'm just going to read this part here, what the writer said. What should be of concern to all voters on September 1st is whether Mr. Mohammed is running for the presidency of the country in a bid to protect himself from the sanctions that have been slapped on him and what may lie ahead, and whether he would be up to the task, right? So the writer also pointed out that Mr. Mohammed would not be the first person here to seek refuge on the presidential immunity. And that is all the more reason why constitutional reform must curtail these. When did he become interested in running for the presidency? And did that inclination coincide with the beginning of his legal worries, the U.S. sanctions or the threat of sanctions? So they're questioning his motive for running for office. Is it a genuine care for the people and wanting to serve the people, or is it because of these sanctions?
Absolutely. And I think it's very evident from the manifesto. And I want to pull up, if time permits, some of the details, as few as they are, regarding the oil and gas industry. And that in particular is very important because the number one issue that I have with their plan for the oil and gas industry is this promise, and I want to be very careful with my words here. This promise to say that you are going to engage ExxonMobil on renegotiating the oil and gas the contract. And when I say the oil and gas contract, specifically, I'm talking about the 2016 Stabroek Block Production Sharing Agreement. And that document clearly states that in order for you to have any type of renegotiation of any of the fiscal terms, you need to get the consent, you need to get the agreement, rather, of the oil companies who are involved in that, the players who are involved in that project. And those players have been saying for the past 6 or 7 years, we're not renegotiating the fiscal terms. They will stay as it is. To Forward Guyana's credit, they did say, where oil and gas is concerned, that they will respect the sanctity of contracts. And that is very important for the investment climate.
Correct.
And if you are going to tell the electorate that we are going to do something that you very well know cannot be done, it signals to me that you are more interested in putting forward these platitudes that are going to sound, they're not going to penetrate, perhaps it's just going to come across as sensational, and it's just going to come across as cognitive dissonance.
Correct.
But where the oil and gas industry is concerned, they have no original plan. Many of the things that they quote, it is either already being done by the government. One of their plans is to effectively manage the oil and gas revenues. I mean, that sounds really brilliant, right? When you think about it, very deep.
The sarcasm in that.
But, further away from the oil and gas, the aspects that they have on the oil and gas, one of the things that was really mind-blowing to see in their manifesto is a promise to bring to bear whistleblower protection legislation. Mind you, that was already passed.
I'm just
since
thinking.
January 2018.
I'm thinking, don't we have that?
Yes, but that's one of their promises.
Oh my.
That's one of their promises.
Well, look at it this way. It's already been delivered, even before they're voted into office. But let's go back to the Starbrick News editorial, which I think is very important, and it will coincide with what you were talking about, the manifesto and their lack of knowledge. Starbrick News said, not much is known about Mr. Muhammad's educational background. But the pivotal question would be, what work experience has Mr. Muhammad had thus far? What in that work experience would recommend him for the occupation of public office? Would he be able to engage as a parliamentarian or in an even higher position? The fact that an editor has to question your ability to speak in Parliament says a lot.
Absolutely.
Speaks volumes.
Absolutely. And, it comes back to the point that I wanted to make earlier too, and I'm happy that you raised some of the key points raised in that editorial, Fariza. It's very evident that the WIN team, the WIN clan, there is no interest in serving the interests of the people. No interest. And I want to just mention very quickly, I know I touched on oil and gas, but there are plans for the agriculture sector. Do you know what's one of their major plans for food security leadership?
Tell me.
One line. Guyana is the #1 food exporter in the Caribbean and South America.
You're lying.
No, I kid you not. I kid you not. That's why I wanted to.
That far.
Yeah, and that's why that's one of their big plans. So Fariza, you can really dissect how these manifestos, these two manifestos in particular, the extent to which they fail to provide substance to the electorate. But it's clear that both parties have missed the mark.
Correct. And I think we can end there, Kiana.
Yes, definitely. So to our audience, thank you for tuning in to hear some of the insights from myself and Fariza on the manifestos presented thus far. We are going to be bringing you some more of our ideas as the other parties present their manifestos. So thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching Starting Point. Follow us on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn for critical updates and exclusive content.